The final chapter on JFK. Chapter 7, Almost There. Segment 1, General Walker.
I have good news, and that is we are on Chapter 7, which is called Almost There, meaning that we are almost at the point of getting to the JFK assassination, motorcade route, and everything that follows from that. These segments in this chapter are just minor cleanups that I want to bring to your attention. Let's look at and analyze it so we can be ready for that big motorcade. The first segment is called General Walker. It stands for General Edwin Walker, who, after Lee Harvey Oswald was killed, the Warren Commission made the claim that somehow Lee Harvey Oswald was responsible for shooting at General Edwin Walker in the spring of 1963. General Walker was a very unusual Air Force general. In 1959, with the prior president, Walker got into an argument with President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and he got so mad at Eisenhower that he quit. And Eisenhower managed to talk him back in. He relented and came back as a general in the Air Force. Fast forward another year or two, Walker starts taking his political views and trying to impart them on his troops. And at that point, the Secretary of Defense, Kennedy's man, Robert McNamara, says, "That's enough, you're out." And Walker resigns in 1961, and from that point on, he wasn't in the service. Things get so crazy with Walker that in 1962, when the Kennedy administration is trying to integrate some universities in the South, Edwin Walker goes to the South, to the University of Mississippi, and gets involved with the protests to such an extent that the Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, has him arrested and detained and put into a mental institution for observation for a 90-day period of time. Now, where Lee Harvey Oswald comes into this is not at any time up until his death. In April of 1963, specifically April 8th of 1963, some neighbors see two men around Walker's house peeking in the windows. 2 days later at 9 p.m. at night, somebody shoots at Walker in his house. The bullet misses and embeds in a wall behind Walker. Walker runs to his bedroom, gets a gun, comes running out, and sees the taillights of a vehicle from the adjacent church parking lot where these shots would have come from, leaving and departing. He can't identify who it is, but he knows it's a car. A 14-year-old neighbor boy also heard the shots and came running out of his house to see two men in the church parking lot, both jumping into separate cars after the shot is fired, and both driving away. Lee Harvey Oswald did not own a car at that time. In fact, up until the death, he never owned a car, and he did not have a driver's license. The Dallas police were focused on only one person in the world, and that was General Walker's former employee, William M. Duff. Duff had worked for Walker as an aide and a driver up until just a week or two before the shot was fired at Walker, because Duff, who was at the time engaged to Walker's secretary, he stole money from Walker's secretary's mother. And as a result, the police investigated Duff, arrested Duff, photographed Duff, fingerprinted Duff, and ultimately let Duff go because they couldn't find the weapon to link Duff to the crime. Now, not only did Walker suspect Duff and told the police that Duff was the person that shot at him, but Duff bragged to his ex-fiancée that he was the one that took the shot at Walker. And in spite of the fact that the Dallas Police Department pulled the bullet out of the wall that was shot at Walker, and the bullet did not match coming from the alleged assassination rifle, Warren Commission Exhibit 139, the Warren Commission decided that they were going to take dead Lee Harvey Oswald and link him to the crime. So with no evidence supporting any type of claim that Lee Harvey Oswald shot at General Walker, what the Warren Commission did was they followed the advice of J. Edgar Hoover, and that is he may have an in with the widow because she didn't want to get deported back to Russia. She didn't want to go back. Her husband's dead. She has a newborn baby. She has an infant child, no occupation, no work, and that gives the Warren Commission and the FBI an opportunity to work with this gal who couldn't speak English. So with a translator, they meet with her, are you ready for this? 46 times. They went after this widow who couldn't speak English with a translator 46 times. They finally got her to agree that her husband supposedly shot at Walker. And of course, if you really look at what she says when she's interviewed with the Warren Commission, she said, well, some of the stuff I said maybe not exactly true, but it doesn't matter because my husband's dead. And that's the reality with the General Edwin Walker story. Walker did not think Oswald took a shot at him. There were 2 vehicles there, 2 men there. Oswald could not drive. Oswald didn't have a license. Oswald couldn't have taken his rifle on a bus, and the bullet in the wall in Walker's house didn't match. On top of all of that, if you can imagine, the suspect, who the Dallas police arrested but released, even was bragging about taking the shot. But putting that all aside, the Warren Commission slides it away in order to make Lee Harvey Oswald look like a nut. They say he takes a shot at Walker. See you in the next segment.